Okay. Starting a little bit early today. Just a little bit. Because I really wanted to. So yep. We'll just wait a little bit so people can see that I'm live and all that jazz. See. Get that to work properly today. I had a bit of issue last time. But yeah, we'll see. See if it works. No. Well, something is working. We'll see how much that's going to come through. Just close some of all the apps here because that's not needed. So as soon as people come in, it's going to be great. Oh, see, the carving wizard just had a live today. Oh, he's going to have a live. That's great. He's a nice guy. Let's see. No. That's strange. Everything seems to be working except... That's so strange. Hello everybody. Or whoever's here. Well, there's something now. That's awesome. That's great. Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, hello, dude. How are you today? See, everything is not working properly. I don't know what's going on. My chat is off. Everything else, but you know, we'll start. I like to commission a chair made out of mahogany and dark oak, needed in 2 hours. That's it's a little bit early, isn't it? Hi, I'm good. Whitey said. Hello, Driz. We'll see. I can make a chair in 2 hours. It's going to be a tiny one, but I can do that. I'm just going to have to look really quickly at my workstation. So I'm just going to spin you around a little bit. Let me see here what's going on. Platforms. Count. Oh. There you go. Now it's working. That's so much better. I see Twitch. Counts. That's all logged in and well. Oh, now the chat's working. That's great. What you said. It's from my pet road, so that'll work. How do you have to be to kill yourself? I wouldn't do that. So if you're thinking about that, you need to seek help. I cannot help you there. Well, let's see, turn some wood. Yes, exactly. That's why we're here, really. I'm gonna do a little bit of a vessel for salt. Like I do lots of salt and pepper grinders, but I do them in colours. So I'm going to try to color coordinate the vessels for the salt as well. So that's the plan. We're going to try to do that with a little bit of ash, because that's what I like to use for this. Baileys, I don't want to talk about that stuff, right? So today I'm going to talk about my grandfather as well, because he's getting old and he has dementia, and so that's not really good. And he just recently had a blood clot in his brain, which would where did I put my remote? Would turn his dementia into a big issue. This is ash. We're going to use ash today. What was the last question? So yeah, he's not doing too well. I just saw him yesterday. So if you follow some of my stuff, you saw they updated it yesterday. So I'm just going to find the center and drill a hole into this. But yeah, he surprised me because he was able to remember who I was. So that was good. And I didn't expect that, so that made me happy. Get the camera over to that bit. So just drill a hole in it, and now I can attach it here on the worm screw. Right. I don't want to talk to a guy like that. Right. So I'm just going to get that on there. Is that not the right drill? The drill that I used to use? Hello, mister. Yeah, I'm not religious either. But it feels like he is, my grandfather is on his last legs. I have two hopes for him. Like, either he recovers and regains some of his memories and all that stuff, and he will work properly for a few more years, or he will go fast. So that's all we can do about this time, right? But yeah, he's the guy who got me into wood turning and woodworking in general, so that's why I want to talk about him. To honor him, I'm probably going to get a little bit emotional, so you have to bear with me for this stuff. He was a big inspiration in my life and a cornerstone, and he's always been there. So it's kind of hard. Yeah, no, I don't mind. Please ask. He is 90. He just turned 90. So I mean, he lived a full life. I mean, if I make it to 90, I'll be happy. So that's all good. But yeah, it's tough on everybody. Of course it is. It's never good when someone you love is not doing well. But I guess we all have to get to that point somewhere, sometime in our life. But I want to tell a few stories, right? I want to tell us a few stories because in 90 years, he had some stories to tell. And he's been working at an orphanage for most of his life. And that's how he met my mother, actually, because my mother was in the orphanage and one of the children there. and he took care of her and took her into his home. And my mother was never adopted, but she just kept coming and visiting. And when my big brother was born 43 years ago, they came to visit at the hospital, of course. And as soon as they walk into the hospital room, something is not right there. Shouldn't be vibrating like that. As soon as they walk into the hospital room, my mother just reached out to my grandfather and says, "Alright, do you want to go see your grandfather?" And that's it. He's been my grandfather ever since, and nobody ever questioned that. And we spend our summers at that place. We spend Christmas there, and we was just accepted as part of the family. So he's always been there, and they've always been family. I never questioned that. So something's not right with this lathe right now, but yeah, I'm gonna work through it. So we spend all the Christmas there, and the summer, and holidays, and they lived out in the country. I had a big house up there, and my grandfather was really into gardening, because that's what you did back then, right? You had the garden, and you grow vegetables, and you had flowers. And it was just a great place to be, you know. So one time we were in the back of the garden, right, and filling in a hole. And my grandfather, he's always been a powerhouse. He had this concrete pole that he used to stamp the dirt with as we children. I think about 3 or 5, about 5 that time, maybe a bit older. So we put stuff into the hole, dirt into the hole, and he will stamp it with this concrete pillar. And he always stopped, and we put dirt in, and before he stamped, he just said, "Please stop, and I'm going to stamp." And so we stopped, and he stamped. And I thought to myself, my little 5-year or 6-year-old brain at that time thought that, well, I can just get another shovel in there, just to help fill the hole a little bit faster. And I put the shovel in, and the concrete pole came down, and the handle of the shovel hit me in the chin. So it broke my chin, not the bone itself, but it get me a big gash there, to start bleeding. And he was, of course, really sorry, and he took me to the hospital. We spent the entire day at the hospital getting my chin stitched up. I think I had like 3 stitches or something. We went out and had ice cream afterwards, and and he felt so bad because he was supposed to look afterwards, and about an hour after we were at the hospital. So oh yeah, that was something. And he feels so sad about it. That's so great. Hello, Donny. Welcome in. So he broke my chin there. No, well, he gave me a big gash there. So that was something. I still have a scar. Now, of course, I have a full-grown beard, so I cannot see it. But if I shave it off, you will be able to see the scar just under the chin. So that was that was something. Yeah. Well, when I was there yesterday, I went into the room. Now he just soon after he woke up from his nap. I went in there, and I looked him in the eye and asked him, "Do you know who I am?" And he looked at me and says, "Yes, I know you." That was unexpected. It was cool. Build-A-Bup's grown up. I am from Denmark. That's someone over at TikTok asking. I'm from Denmark. So, yep. But yeah, he remembered me. And I asked him, did you know that you used to have a lathe? And he said, yeah, I remember that. Do you remember what happened to that lathe? No, he wasn't able to remember. Well, I said, you gave it to me when you moved out of the house about 10 years ago. You gave that lathe to me. And it's like, no, he wasn't sure that he was able to remember that. Remember that his language just has taken damage as well, so he doesn't know all the words still. He's not able to articulate anything properly, so it's really hard for him and frustrating. But I said, well, I have that lathe, and my whole life now is about wood turning and working. That's basically all I do, and that's all because of him. And you can see he just stopped for a second there, and he laid on the side of the bed and just looked me straight in the eyes. And you can just see something click there for a second, which was great. That was worth the trip. Problem is, he lives about an hour and a half away from me, just an hour and 15 minutes. I mean, it's not a long drive, but it's not something I'm able to do on a daily basis because of everything, right? Like, I cannot just go down there. Because if I were able to go down there, I would be there at the evening, and that's when he will be tired and not being at full strength. So he's in a home now. After he had the blood clock, my grandmother cannot take care of him anymore. It's too much. It's too demanding. So they have to put him there. And for him, it's strange because he doesn't remember exactly why he's there. Hello, Axel. Welcome in, dude. Hello, Benjamin. So he doesn't know exactly why he's there, and he doesn't understand why his wife is not there with him. So he asked about her all the time. But yeah. I remember back when we spent Christmas at the house. Right, they had this big house that had 2 living rooms in it. One was the nice living room that we not normally go into. And that's where the Christmas tree were. So we were in the normal living room with the sofas and all that, and the elf went into the other living room to hello, Pig Pony Club. The elf was in the other living room lighting the Christmas tree, and the elf would knock on the door when he was done. So all our children, me and my 3 brothers and some of my cousins, were just standing next to this big double door. Pax, yes, I'll get back to that in a second after the story. We just stand at this big double door and just listen and waiting for that elf to knock on the door because he was done with the Christmas tree, and we will open it so fast just so we are able to see the elf before he went out of the room. And I never understand why that elf would be so fast, and I was never able to catch him. And it took me many years. I think I was in my 20s, because it suddenly, that memory came back to me when I was in my 20s, and I sat down with my grandfather back then and I asked him, how did that happen? How did you do that? And he looked at me in the eyes, started laughing. You're telling me that you're 20-something years old now, and you never figured that out? And I was like, no, I never figured that out. How were you that fast? Because I knew it was my grandfather who liked the Christmas tree, and I knew that. But I never knew how he could get out so fast. And he looked at me with a little smirk on his face and a glimpse in his eye, and do you remember that when we were standing at that door? I said, yeah, I remember that. We told you to put your ears into it, and we showed you how, so you all look the same way. And I said, yeah, I remember that. Well, I was standing at the corner of the door, and I knocked on the door behind my back so you couldn't see me move. And that's how that was. So we thought he was inside and run out that fast. And it took me that many years to figure that out. And that was yeah, so that was fun. That was fun. That's a great memory. And we had a good laugh about it. Wood turning was just a hobby. Well, he didn't do wood turning that much, but he did all general work, right? Like, he's a real handyman. He doesn't like to throw stuff away, so he just repaired stuff. Like patch tires and bicycles and stuff for all the kids in the neighborhood. So he never threw anything away, and he was just helping everybody all the time. But he, as part of his job, right, he was spending time with the children at the orphanage, and some did woodworking there and wood carving and all that stuff. Just a second, my son is here. Yeah. And yes, dementia is a bitch. Not really happy about it, but it's life, right? But yeah, so he taught them like general stuff at that orphanage, how to handle themselves and what to do, like how to. Well, he was like a father to the people there, to the children, like all the other people there as well, of course. Right, I think this is about as good as a form I'm gonna get of this. But he did make a few things wood turning. Not a lot though. There's a coat hanger, standalone coat hanger he did many years ago. That's still in their home today. But other than that, he just didn't do much woodworking. Just general work. But he had that lathe there, and that's my first lathe. And this is one I learned how to turn on. I still have it to this day, and I will never get rid of it. And it's just going to be, even though it takes up, it took it apart now because it's not good to be used. I took it apart. It takes up space and it's a bit annoying, but I'll not throw that away. I don't think I'll have the heart to throw that away at any time. But yeah. But yeah, he is a really good person. My grandmother, on the other hand, well, she is not on the other hand, she is also a really nice person. She used to be at daycare, have a daycare at home. And this day still, the children from her daycare still comes and visit every Christmas to bake cake for themselves and just enjoy themselves. There's a nice door handle. Well, it's not going to be a door handle. It's going to be like a vessel for salt. I think we're going to try to use some colours on this. So I'm just going to colour the bottom here, because that's going to. I'm going to turn that around. I'm not going to be able to. Well, I can do that at the end still. Yes, I'm just going to do that at the end, I think. Maybe? No. I'm going to do it now. Right. And I'm just going to sand a little bit more. I need some finer grit sandpaper. What was the one I used? That was the 180. So let me just go to 240. I'm going to hollow this out and I'm going to colour it, and it's going to be nice. So don't worry about it. It's going to be cool. My grandfather was always the one, like, for many summers, our cousins gathered at their place. Me and my brothers and my cousins and we gathered at their place, and we had this summer fun thing when we did all kind of activities all around the place, like lighting fires, like campfires, of course, roasting bread and we just hung out. And one of the things we did, he had a BB gun, an air gun, rifle, and we did practice shooting in the garage with him. I think we started doing practice shooting when we were about 4 with that BB gun. Of course, he was there with us all the time. He never left us alone, because of course, rifles. Nikolai, yeah, I do have more streams running, but that's going to be either TikTok or Twitch. I don't think I have the for some reason the big stream on YouTube is not running for some reason, but it is what it is, really. So I'm just going to get a little bit of burning going on here. That's good. What colour should we use? I did one earth the other day, and I think that was really great. So we're going to do an earth one. And it's like a chocolatey brown. But this is just going to be the base of it, so it's not going to be that. Right, so just like that, and as soon as that's dried up, we can switch this over and start hollowing. So yeah, we did all that stuff with him. We spent, I don't know how many hours we spent in his workshop and just doing random stuff. I had an idea for a game I want to make. It was actually ridiculous, but it was great, and I had that game for years after that. It's like a round plate with a barrier on it and a little grip thing. So I had a ball rolling around on it, and the game was to catch that little ball with the spring clamp. That was the entire game, and we spent like a whole day making that, him and I. I don't know when that game got lost, but it was probably some time around when we moved, me and my family, from place to place. We did move quite a bit. But yeah, I had that for many years, and it was a great one. And when we were there this summer, after they moved out of the big house into a smaller house, they always took us down to this lake in the middle of the city when they had this water cycles, like platform when you would just pedal in it and you can get propulsion from that. And we would go out there every summer on those water bikes, that we call them, and try to get the permission to steer the boat. And as soon as we got that permission, we would go straight for the big fountain in the middle of the lake and try to get everybody wet. So it was always a game trying to steer as close to that as possible without him taking over again, so we wouldn't all get wet. Yeah, it's great fun though. So I'm just going to do a little bit of curving here on this. A little bit of curving on this. And I'm trying to refine the shape a little bit, because when you turn stuff from one side of the chuck to another one, you always get a little bit of run out. But it's fine. I think we can work with that. Now, I don't think I'm gonna hollow this out all the way. I'm going to make an indent in it, so you don't need a ton of salt for this. So it's just going to be a nice vessel for salt, really. But do we need to make it a little bit now? I think this is about okay. And also, when we were out of those water thing, it was just a great time because we just pedal around the lake and trying to get in all kinds of trouble, and he tried to guide us not to. Yeah, it's good times. I remember back in the big house, they used to have chickens as well, and they had this rooster that would always attack. And of course, we children, we want to go into the chicken coop to collect eggs and just help out, really. So when we went in there, there's always my grandfather. He was with us, and he had a broomstick, trying to keep that little that rooster away from us, because he would attack. He'd just come out of nowhere and just run straight for us. So that was just great fun, really. Right. So let's see. I think I'm not going to cover the inside of this, and for that reason, I'm gonna try to color this here on the outside. Oh, I should burn it first, of course. That's what I should do. So I'm just going to burn this. So he will keep the rooster away from us with a stick, and he will be successful and unsuccessful, and we came out with scratches and bruises from that rooster. So we were kind of afraid to go in there ourselves, but of course it was also a challenge because we were 4 boys, me and my brothers. It's always a challenge who dared to go into the chicken coop with granddaddy, and that was always fun. I think we had more fun than my grandfather did, because he was always worried about us. That's good memories though. It was always great to come and visit them, because especially in the summertime, because that's when the garden was full of strawberries and peas and apples and pears. That's in fall, of course. So we would just always go there and munch on all his fruits and vegetables. And of course, children growing up and having a free buffet of fresh produce, for us that was just heaven. And we just ate so much of it. It was good fun. But yeah, when they move away from that, after they moved from the big house, they moved into a smaller, like a normal house in the suburbs. And they were there for, I don't know how many years, 8 years, 10 years, maybe more. And to get to the point now, then they were getting older. My grandfather was getting close to 80. Or he was 80 plus. So they needed to downsize a little bit, because it was getting too much with the garden and all that stuff for them to take care of. So he needed to get rid of a lot of his tools and equipment. And it's turning out good, thank you. So he was getting rid of all his tools and equipment and all that stuff, and of course me not being from his blood, my cousins had first
pick of anything they wanted, and luckily for me, nobody wants the lathe. And I have always said that, well, I could be interested in that. I didn't know anything about wood turning or woodworking at that time. I just thought it was cool, and I thought it could be fun to try that out. So when none of my cousins wanted it, he contacted me and said, well, I got a lot of stuff left. Is anything of that you might be interested in? So we went over there and filled the trailer with a lot of stuff. So that's how I got my first lathe, and with all his old tools. And this gouger is really bad. So I took that lathe home, and I set it up after some time, and I started trying to do some turning with it. I had no idea what I was doing, so basically I just tried my best, and of course I did all the things wrong that you're not supposed to do. And I started watching some YouTube videos after I made the first couple of pieces. They were awful, mind you. They were really bad. But I didn't know what I was doing, and everything was not working out properly. And so I said, well, I'm probably not gonna do anything more with this lathe. So I just stopped using it after about 6 months. But then I just kept looking at it, and I thought, well, I think I can do better. So I started watching a lot of YouTube and learning what went wrong and why and how. And it's starting to, making some pieces that was actually, well, better. And I start making apples and pears and all the stuff that I tell new people that want to start woodturning to try and make, because they are really good to learning the trade. Usavaldo, sorry. I'm trying to make a little ball for salt to go with my salt and pepper grinders. Pepper grinders basically. So a little ball for salt is what I'm trying to make. I am talking about my grandfather at the same time, trying to share some memories of a really, really great person that has gotten a turn for the worse. So we don't know how much longer we have him. So that's also happening. So I was making a lot of apples and pears, and like any other inspiring woodworker, I want to share my work with the world. So I made a little Facebook page where I shared my work. Hello Judge, good morning. To share my work with the world, and I started to get a little bit of followers there, and I made my first sale. A lovely old lady, elderly lady, who bought one of my first pieces, and that started the entire thing out. And I thought to myself, well, I might be able to make a little bit of money off this, to pay for some of this equipment that I want to get as a woodturner. So I started to sell some of those apples and pears that I made. And mind you, looking back on them now, when I see them around, they could have been a lot better. But it's, yeah, well, thank you, Osvaldo. It's not the best pieces that I have made, but of course it was really early in my career. But it's starting to make me able to buy some materials and tools so I don't have to go to the fire, go take firewood all the time and turn from that. So I'm starting to get a little bit better tools, and at some point I start making pens. And that really took off. I made so many pens, and it paid for my bandsaw, my drill press, my first proper lathe. Paid for all that by pens, and it all took off from there. I made some YouTube videos back then, 7 or 8 years ago. They're still out there on my channel. I don't think I'm going to take them down because it's a story. And this is my channel, it's a story. So let's see about this little vessel here. I need to do something about this. I need a bit more coarser sandpaper. Let me see, to remove a little bit of that material in there because it's not really that good. I could try with a scraper, but I don't think I have a scraper that's small enough to go in there and do a proper job. Yeah. So a fun story, another story about my grandfather. A couple of years ago, now he was starting to not being able to walk that well, so he had this little thing that he walked with. I don't know what you call it, in rollator in Danish, that he walked with to support him while he walked. And he took a walk every day, about a couple kilometers of walk, so just to get some work done. And he was walking around this field when there were some kids playing football. And the ball just rolled over towards him, and he just let go of that brace that he was holding, and he ran. Now this guy was late in the 80s. He ran to the ball and kicked it to the boys and ran back, and then he just kept walking slowly with that support brace. I would have paid money to see the faces of those children, to see the old man running like that. He always surprises us like that, all the time. It's weird stuff. So yeah, he's a great dude. I just wish he didn't have that dementia, because we're losing into that. Where are you from, buddy? Crazy accent. I am from Denmark, Lions. A simmer frame? But I don't know. It's something you hold on with wheels on it so you can support yourself while walking. If that's a simmer frame, there you go. But yeah, he's been using that for some time now. The fun thing is actually, just over a week and a half ago something, he got that blood clot in his brain and he was rushed to the hospital. The problem is, really, he didn't know he had high blood pressure, so they gave him blood thinner medicine, but then he started bleeding. So they have to dial that back a little bit, and that resulted in the blood clot in his brain. And so it's just a balance, and we don't know how much longer they can keep that balance up before the next blood clot comes. And Yeah. But when he got into that the nursing home after the hospital, he didn't use that Zimmer frame or support anymore because he didn't feel pain walking. So now he's able to walk without support. Funny, but great. And about a couple of days ago, I think the first day he was in that home, he stood up and walked out. I just took a walk outside the home, and the care home that called us and said, well, he's gone, we don't know what to do, and can't find him. So within like 10 minutes, 8 people was there, a family, close family, to try and find him, and he just came walking back through the door. And I'd ask him, what were you doing? Where were you? Well, I was out looking for Grandma. That's what he said with the few words he had. I was just out looking for Grandma. He didn't think that he was gone or anything was wrong. He was just out looking for Grandma because she wasn't there. So yeah, he's surprised. He surprises us all the time. Still. So it's a fun thing. So when I was there visiting him yesterday, he just kept saying something is wrong. He couldn't understand where Grandmother was because she was normally always be there. That's kind of sad, really. So I'm gonna go there and visit him again soon. Just because he was able to remember me. That was so much a surprise to me. Even though that I don't see him that often, and I don't talk to him on the phone because he doesn't pick up the phone. My grandmother does, because she probably doesn't want us to see how bad he were. So I don't talk to him that often. Only when I visit. I think I see him like 2 times a year, something like that normally. But he was still able to remember me, which was crazy. Because his own daughter, he was not able to remember her. But me, for some reason, I got stuck. That was something. So that was emotional. I'm getting a little bit emotional about that into now as well, so bear with me. So yeah, lovely person. I learned something new about him as well yesterday. He had a middle name. I never knew that. Nobody ever uses that. He would always be Helge Messen or Mr. Messen. His last name. No one ever used his middle name. That was fun. Let's learn that as well. I'm gonna have to try to do something about this little tear out. Oh, thank you, Sammy. I hope you don't mind me sharing that and my emotions and all that. But yeah. Well, I guess you don't mind since you're all here still to us, so I appreciate that a lot. So let me just try that with a little bit with the scraper here. See if I can. I don't know if this is going to help. We'll see. Let me just try and see that. See if that's better or worse. I don't know. I think that's a lot worse. But we'll try that anyway. But yeah, it just he had a 90th birthday about 2 months ago, and we were all invited there, of course. But I got sick, and I got really sick. So in the morning, and I just started feeling that sickness, and I didn't want to go there. To me being there, infecting others, like elderly people, that would just been wrong. So if you're sick, you stay home. And it really probably was the last time he was out and about and all there. And that really, really hurts me, not being there. It's actually getting a little bit worse after what just happened to him. But we cannot predict life. It is what it is, and we have to deal with what we got. Yeah. If you don't want to see a grown man cry, switch channel. But yeah. So let's see. It did help a little bit. It's not really perfect, but it is what it is, really. But yeah, I love that fella to bits. He was also the one that, when we were there visiting at the big house when we was really young, they had, I think they had a wood burning furnace for the heating of the house, so he always need wood chopping. So with children, we would go out there and chop wood for him, and we thought there was a great game, and we were like feeling like adults, having our own hatchet and chopping wood for him. We think we were out there for hours and hours without supervision, but I don't think we were actually. I think he was just always around to watch us. But it felt like we were just there by ourselves for hours, chopping wood for him, even though we were probably just going to be, we were there for like 10 minutes and we were on to the next thing. But yeah. So this nice little vessel here, I'm going to try to clean that a little bit with some isopropyl alcohol. I think I have a little bit there. That's great. Hopefully I don't dissolve the colours that I put on, because right now there are some wood dust on it, and I want to try to get that cleaned off. But yeah, I wish I could go back 20 years, but we cannot do that. Now this is just isopropyl alcohol to take off some of the dust that has settled that I cannot get rid of. Yeah. So let's see, get some matte setting seal on this. And on the inside, I think I'm just going to use a lacquer, not a lacquer, a wax. A lot of chopping wood for the burners. Yeah, it's great exercise, and it's you feel productive, even though with children properly, you just chop the small pieces because that's what we're able to do. I have some of the older tools that he gave me back when he was moving out is also some axes. I still have them, of course, and I keep them and I use them whenever I need to chop something. See, zoom in a little bit more. There we go. And also the knife I use for I have a knife that he gave me as well. It's the one my son uses when he wants to make stuff out of wood. So he just sit here and snit. I don't know, what do you call it, snit? No, we don't call it that. Carving, wood carving. So my youngers like to sit here in the workshop. I have a small chair down here. That is perfect. Right, you have to look at the small camera now, peeps. But there it is. This is a stool I had when I was a child, and I still have it. And my son, both of them actually, used to sit on that when they was wood carving here in the basement with me. So they would sit on that chair and carving, and I would do some wood turning or general work around the workshop. And we would just hang out for a couple of hours. That's great. Okay. Now that should be ready for lacquer. And I'm going to use the matte lacquer on the outside. I'm trying to use a wax on the inside. So I'm just trying my best not to get lacquer on the inside. I brought a book called Norwegian Wood by Lars Mytting. It explains the Scandinavian way to chop and stack really nice little books. Oh, Chop and Stack. It's a nice book. Yep. Oh, I never heard about it. I'm not really into reading books, especially not something that you're able to should learn stuff from. That's not really me. Well, that sounds great, Sammy. But I just like wood turning particularly. I'm not into wood carving, but my son likes to do that, and he thinks he is the best wood carver ever. He's 8 now, so he's starting to see that he probably need to learn a little bit, but he made some great projects and he thinks they're great, and that's cool. It's really nice spending a couple hours with my son down here. It's the same my grandfather did with me, so full circle there, which is really great. And I still have the knife. It's over at the table in a little sheath. It's nothing special, but to me it is, and that's all that matters. It's the same whenever I need like a special nut or bolt. He gave me a lot of his old nuts and bolts. And I still have them. So whenever I need a nut or a bolt, I grab some of that out of the tins. He had it in all tobacco tins and whatnot. So just grab them out there, and I always think of him. Same when I use some of the old tools, the old soldering iron I have, it's from him. That's going to be a nice little vessel. Looks very good, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Alright, that's a nice little bowl for salt, isn't it? You can even put some of this expensive flaky salt in there, and without have to put half a kilo in. Let's see if this outside, yeah, that looks about dry now, so we can take that off.
Huh. Not a bad little piece. Splitting mold, which is nice to use. Yeah, that sounds awesome. The funny thing about splitting molds and all that stuff is some people were told that a good splitting axe. Let's go up here again. A good splitting axe is something like I'm just trying to get one out. The Fiskar's splitting axe. Well, this is a good splitting axe. It splits logs just by itself. You don't have to work on it. Look at the profile on this. It's so thin that it's actually better for cutting than it is for splitting. So, so a big maul with a wide head, a lot more than this. It probably would do you a lot better than going out and buying something like this. So yeah. Where is it? I don't think I have it here, but I do have some old axes from him. I have this as well, which is awesome. I don't know the story behind it and why he had it, but you can see it's totally flat on one side, and it's on the other side like that. It's going in like that, and the handle, it bent from the it bends away from the flat side. This is really good for chopping up boards and planks or beams. This is exactly what it's made for, because you can chop it like this without getting your hand in trouble, and that's really great. And I use this a lot. Just anything really. Whenever I go and get an axe and I need to shape a bit of rough bit of wood, I just take this. It needs a bit of sharpen. It's okay now, but it's not perfect. And I want to sharpen it on my one of my sharpening systems, so to get it really well. Also got a few planes from him as well and all the stuff. But yeah, that's some of the stuff that just always makes me remember him. Yeah, this is a nice little salt bowl. Go really well with that brown one I made the other day. My lightning is crap, but it is what it is. So that's one. We got time to make another one, yeah? So if you're interested, we're just going to try to make another one. Flat on one side, yeah. It has a specific purpose, and it's really like a Scandinavian tool, but you probably can see that everywhere in the world. But that one is, I think, got some hallmarks on it from back in the day when it was made. I just need a set of pliers because one of my bottles for colouring is the spout on it's broken, so I need a set of pliers to take the spout all out of my airbrush. Yeah, like specific tools always like interested me, but I like a good balance of new tools and old tools. Some of the old tools are just really great and does a lot better job than the new ones. But sometimes the new tools are just better. It just depends on what it's for, really. Alright, so that's one. Well, let's just make another one. Now we kind of got the feel on how to make that. So we're just going to go again. Same procedure, same thing. And this is a bit of ash that just got delivered, so it's a new stock for me. But it seems to be looking really well.
really well.
Oops. Pencil should not be on the ground. Right, let me just drill this out. Let's get that center screw in there again. It's just going to be the same thing, but a different color. So what color should we try? Anybody have an idea? We got most colors. So let me hear what you think, and let's try to accommodate. There we go. It's not going anywhere. It's like what they always say, isn't it? Right. So let's just start to turn that again. And I think it's not going to be that long until I start remodeling my workshop. I'm gonna first I have a few projects I need to get rid of, get out of the workshop. As soon as they're done, I'm gonna rearrange the workshop. Because I want my lathe to come away from the window and move that to the other side. To the other side of the workshop. And I'm probably going to have my... What's wrong here? This tool doesn't feel sharp as it should be. Hope this one's better. It feels a little bit better. It doesn't feel perfectly sharp. What is this? Let's just make a small mark here. Like that. That's going to be for the jaws to hold on to. So just going to make a small little hole here on the back side. So any idea what colour we should try? Let me know. If no one have an idea, I'm just going to pick one. But it would be great to, if anybody has an idea or a favourite or whatnot.
What is the reason most of you good woodturner use steel tools instead of those carbide inserts? I wouldn't say it's the good woodturners. Is, but there are differences, right? The carbide, for first of all, are really great for getting into places that you cannot get proper access to. It's a lot easier to use a carbide than it is to learn the traditional tools. I mean, hello Björn, welcome back. Traditional tools is kind of hard to learn. For instance, if I took my son down here, he's 8 now, and I gave him a set of carbides in his hand, and it will take me, I think, about 5 minutes, and he will be comfortable using those carbides. But that's the reason and the appeal of the carbide. Another great thing about the carbide is you don't need an expensive sharpening setup. So, like, the benefits in that, because the sharpening setup will cost you anything from $500 and upwards. Like, the sharpening jig I have now is about $1,000 US, in that range. And that's just to sharpen the tools. And it's kind of difficult to learn standard tools properly. It takes a lot longer. The learning curve is a bit steep. But what you can do with standard tools is you can work faster. That's not always a good reason to choose them, but it is a reason. You can make a better cut with standard tools than you can with carbide. For instance, I can make a cut with this tool here that is so good that I don't need to sand it. Doing that with a carbide is almost impossible. You can do that in grain sometimes, get a really nice cut that doesn't need sharpening, sanding, sorry. But on side grain, it's, in my opinion, impossible. So that's the reason why people use carbides, is because it's easier and you don't need expensive sharpening systems. And I don't use it because I learned this first. I used them. It's not that. I used them, and I used them a little bit here and there, depending on what I'm doing. But I like to use the normal tools because I can make a better cut. For instance, here, this surface, you can see how shiny that is, and it's not perfect, mind me. You can get it better than this, but it doesn't. You don't see any marks on any torn grain. It actually looks really well. So when I take a carbide and trying to replicate that cut, you can see the shiny part of it, right? So you can see it's just where is it? Lighting, nice and shiny. And I'm just trying to zoom in a little bit. You can see that looks really well, and a nice surface. So when we take a carbide, and how they are normally supposed to be used. Right, you can see straight away the surface. There you can see the difference. This is the carbide, this is the standard tool. Now that can be sanded out fairly easily, but it does take a little bit of sanding. That's the main part. That's the main reason why. The main big difference. Sorry. So I'm just trying to clean that up a little bit again. Right. An old Craftsman lathe, new in the box. I bought kit from Amazon with 5 different carbide tools and 1 steel tool. Well, that should get you going, right? And I mean, there's no right and wrong in woodturning. There are, do you reach the result you wanted? And are you working safe? And if you can answer yes to both, there you go. You're doing well. Another thing is standard tools. As soon as you get into the little bit higher quality of standard tools, they get really freaking expensive really fast. The steel tools in the kit is pure shit though. It's probably just me, or because the carbide tool works so much better for me. Well, what kind of tools is it? The standard steel one. Is it something like this? Well, there you go. Is it something like this? Ball gouge? Is it a roughing gouge? Something like this? Is it a skew? Or a scraper, which is just a flat bit of iron with about 70 or 80 degree bevel on it? So that's the difference. I can feel now a little clunk, 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 clunk. Means it's not perfectly round. Similar to this, it's a semicircle. Okay. Now this tool, let me get you back a little bit. This tool with this profile, that's a spindle roughing gouge. That is to take away the first bit of material to make stuff round. It is supposed to take the beating, and it's supposed to be able to do that. So as soon as you got stuff to round, you take the carbide again and you start giving it shape and form. And I use that tool quite a bit. Yeah, I use that tool quite a bit when I make spindle turning, which is a long piece of timber, and it's really useful to make stuff round for that. What's going on with this piece of timber? It doesn't feel like it's coming to shape. I got a flat spot here. So a flat spot, which means more material needs to come off. Rubber. It's about right now. It's good. Now I can refine that shape a little bit later, so that should be okay for now. Let me just see. I don't think I need the 80 grit for this. Where's the other piece? There it is. Now, when you get to about my age, you are obliged to make noises as soon as you bend over and pick something up. It's just how it is, really. But yeah, turfing, if you ever need anything, guidance and help and picking up tools and any questions at all, I have a Discord channel that you can contact me at any time. Now, there's not a lot of traffic going on in there, that's I have to say, but it's there, and this should be in the description, or either on the description of my channel then, if you don't find it in this stream. You can ask me any question there about tools and lathes and techniques and all that, and I'll do my best to answer it. I have to say, I sell wood turning equipment for a living when I'm not here at the workshop. That's what I do. So I have a lot of knowledge about that stuff. Now, mind you, I am located in Denmark, so me sending out tools to you, I can do that, but it's probably better for you to pick up something similar in where you are, actually. So I will be happy to guide you and anything. The carbide you bought, just make sure that you are able to find new inserts for it, otherwise it's going to be a short-lived experience. So yeah, just make sure that they are available, because the cutting edge on a carbide it varies quite a bit, but between 3 and 6 hours. Normally you got like 4 sights on it, so you can cut for a long time with them. But if you go into hard timber, or you drop them, or you hit a nail or something, they can break easily, so you need to be able to have replacement for it all the time. Yeah, America, yeah, I thought so. So yeah, just make sure that you're able to find replacement carbide tips for your tool, and you should be good to go. That roughing gouge, keep that sharp and use it for roughing out timber, and you should be okay. And if you don't have a sharpening system, you don't need one. You just take a file or whatever, make sure that you sharpen the bevel, and keep it as close to 45 degrees as you can. Golden. It doesn't need to be precise or anything with this tool. Yes, there are snobs out there that says, oh, it has to be ish and like that, and like, perfect and all. If you don't do that, you're an awful wood turner. I don't give a fuck. As long as you're happy and you work safe and enjoy yourself, I don't care. I don't care what tool you use. I have an opinion, of course, and I will be happy to tell you about it. Right. So black walnut, locust, oak, cherry, maple, and burls. The burls, save that for a little bit later, so you just know exactly what you do. It's a ruby, I think. No, let's try to make a yellow one. So we take the honey. I think that's a cool color. Right. And yes, I stepped away from my grandfather's stories, just for a little bit. I hope that's alright. Oops, there needs some air for this, otherwise it will not work. There. Now, this is one of the things that you have to trust the process. Some of the colors here. But yeah. But that old Craftsman lathe is probably better than my first lathe, so I think you'll be happy about that. Now, mind you, nothing is better than my grandfather's lathe, but for a product that's supposed to last and be steady, that's not the best one. My grandfather's that is. God damn it. Now that's stuck in there. I have a microphone here on my face that is designed to, there we go, that's designed to work for noisy environments and stuff like that, so that's why I have it like that.
And yes, it's not the most expensive microphone on the market, which is really good. Holy moly, this is stuck extremely well. That's awful. I need to do something about that. Sorry, I just need to go off frame a little bit to go to the vise. Just put my center screw in the vise and then I can twist it. There we go. Right. But yeah, this is I think this is the second or third. Yeah, this is the third microphone I'm trying out, and I made a mistake. Yikes! I'm trying out for this, and so I've been through a few, but so far this one seems to be working the best of them all. I just need a little bit more space for the jaws to close. But yeah, I'm running no filters on my OBS or anything. It's just the microphone alone who does the work. That seems about right. Yep, I'm really happy with it. And the good part is, if it ever breaks, it is fairly cheap to replace, like about $150. I mean, yes, it's money and it's quite a bit, but for a microphone, it's not that bad. So I think this worked out pretty well. Even with my positive pressure mask, it still does a reasonable good job. Because that's the main thing. I really like my mask and I like to wear it all the time when I'm at the workshop, well, most of the time anyway. But it's not that good around for audio. So that was my biggest concern. It's one of the things I said, like safety is really important, especially for me it is really. And I always try to tell people that you should really take care of your lungs. And this did really well. Take care of my lungs and just take care of my my face as well. If something falls off, it happens once in a while, really. So. Alright, so let's see how good the surface is. Do I have anything that I need to consider and take care of? And I do.
let's just try this a little bit. Now, sandpaper's not a thing that, what's your thought on Renaissance wax, if you tried it? I don't think I have. What does it contain? Because normally I work with, most of the waxes out there contains two things. It contains microcrystalline wax and canaba wax. That's mostly those ingredients that people use the most. So Renaissance wax, I don't know what that does really. I like the products from Hampshire Sheen. The stuff. Right, let me even get that to focus. No. Well, Hampshire Sheen. That logo. I like them. A British made company. Products. And the guy who makes them is a woodturner, and he's passionate about his stuff, and really a nerdy guy. And it's not like a big brand that's, stuck in the way. It's a microcrystalline wax developed by the British Museum, I believe. Antique stuff. There you go. It's a microcrystalline wax, basically. So yeah, that's really good. It's a good lasting wax, and it polishes up kind of well. You're not able to get like a really high gloss surface on it because of the low content of canaba wax. Canaba wax is what normally makes it really, really shiny. So if you want like a matte, resistant surface, that waxes really well. If you want a high gloss finish, that wax is not good. So it depends on what you want really, and what you want to use it for. Waxes on surface that has a high use is not the best thing, and I say that when I put wax on these items here. It's not the best because it doesn't last as long for high wear. For that you need something really hardened and doable surface, something that hardens really well. Hello, English. Hello, English. But it all depends on what you're going to use the product for when it's done, how you want it to look. So that's how I choose my products. So if you want something to be really, really doable, and being able to be wiped off again and again and again, and even grease his fingers, the wax is not the best if you're not going to reapply it a lot. This is a salt vessel, a vessel for salt on the table. For that you want to use a hardening oil, for instance, or something like that range. I like the Danish oil. I like a Danish oil that hardens, and I think I got that with the some of the Danish oil I'm using, like the Rustens Danish oil that hardens, or the Vivo Danish oil. It's the one I use quite a bit. This here, if you're able to find that somewhere. Works really well. It hardens, and it's just really, really strong. So it all depends on what you want with your products. What's the hardest thing I carved? A volleyball, not a volleyball, a bowling ball. It's probably the hardest thing I ever worked with. And I would not recommend anybody doing that unless you really want a stupid challenge. But I don't carve, I turn stuff on the lathe. if you're saying talking about hardest material or the most difficult, that's a different thing. That's two completely different things. Let's see the other one. Does it have a little, just have a little bit of tapered, little bit of a taper here. So I'm going to do that again. But for difficulty levels, these small hollowings are not as easy as they might look. Even though I might make it look a bit easy. Getting a good cut in there with the small space that is available is a little bit tricky. It's electric drive. I'll have a frequency converter down below it. And it has a motor down there as well, and has a big long belt going all the way up to the spindle here. This is not a beginner lathe, it's quite expensive. That's also one of the reasons why it is quiet. But you know, if you are able to, and know you're going to do wood turning for a long time, I can recommend buying an expensive lathe, because you know you will use it for a long time. If you buy a cheap lathe, you will end up replacing it reasonably quick, depending on your use, of course. Because if you only turn once every 2 weeks, it does not have a practical purpose. No, it's just for the looks. It's just a surface I really like, so that's why it is there. So let's just try to see if I am able to sand this. I think I'm gonna be able to use this little sanding disc. For some of the sanding. See if that helps or speed up the process a little bit. Yeah, no worries, man. Feel free to contact me over in the Discord if you have any more questions. There are no stupid questions, just stupid answers. So, feel free. Feel free to ask anything at any time, as long as it is wood turning or woodworking related. Så hold on. Ja. Nej, ikke andet. That was my oldest son coming to ask if I want anything to eat, and he asked if I want some instant noodles down here, and it's like, no, not really, no. I'll be Kind of stupid really to take that in here. I think I'm going to have to... Now, I'm going to try with that carbide again, because I think it did okay. Or I could try the other one I have. It's rather big though. If it's too big, I don't know. No, I think that should be alright. Now this is a negative one. And for this small thing here, I can use that without a handle. Let's see if I can just smooth out some of the bumps I have in there. That was not good. That will leave marks that needed to be removed in some way. Let's see. Let's see how that works. Let's see how that worked. Now it did smooth it out quite a bit, but it did leave a nasty pit in there, so I'm just going to go again. More speed this time. And I need to remove a bit more material. Hopefully, if I do it slowly, it will leave a nice surface. Nice enough surface that I can sand out easily. Now the problem being, in a vessel like this, there's not a lot of room to get the best angle with your gouges, so some kind of a scraper is often really helpful. I'm just going to slowly wither away, stop the lathe and see how well it goes. It feels, yeah, my big face gets in the way. And it seems like it's working and it's getting there, and I just need to keep at it a little bit more. I hope my face, my head, my helmet is not in the way too much. I probably should put that on a handle at some point. So let's see how well that turned out. I think that's almost as good as it will get. Now it's just a matter of sanding. I think I can do that with this. Most of it anyway. Now the trick with sanding, if you want your sandpaper to last a long time and your sanding pads, go slow. Go slow. And if you do that, your sanding pads will last much longer. And it will be better in the long run. This is almost done now. Just going to end up with a bit of 240 grit sandpaper here. Make sure we don't have a nipple at the bottom. I think that's okay. Now I just need my air to blow out the dust a little bit. So yeah. About to start. See you. Alright, Judge, thank you for jumping in. Thank you for your support, man. I appreciate you. Now let me try to get that dust away again here. If I can find that little bottle of isopropyl. I'm just gonna take some of that dust away. Righto. Like that. Now we can add some sanding sealer. So F1. Yeah, I'm not into sports of any kind, so I don't get it. Well, I get it that people are interested in it, but it's not something I would like to spend my time on. But that's fine. Everybody's different. So that's good. Right, well, that needs to just sit a little bit and harden. I need to polish off the inside. Just tapped. And there as well. That's just for the wax. And I made a terrible mess in there. So that's something. Oh well, it is what that is. Clear lacquer. Clear matte lacquer, of course, and a little bit of wax on the inside. It doesn't take much, really. And just polish that up a little bit. And I try not to go too fast to because the lacquer was not completely dry on the outside. Looks like it is now. Alright, so there it is. That did not go as planned at all. I don't know why. Whenever I try to use the wax, it does not always go to plan. But we'll see. We'll see. Good thing I can always just turn it out and replace it, so that's what I'm going to do. Because that didn't turn out proper. Luckily, it's not a big deal. You should never be afraid to go back and redo stuff. So yeah. That's good. Almost done with this. So after this we can go and relax. Don't try to open a can with your nails, that's not really how it's supposed to work, really. So just do it proper. It should be okay. And there you have it. Right, so one was a little bit more shiny than the first one. But that's not an issue. It's going to be great anyway.
And there to Woodturn product should be the same, right? And there you have it. Small little balls. Now, they're not similar. Well, they are similar, but they're not the same. Because I didn't do any measurements, I just did it. I think it's turned out well. I really like the brown, even though it looks a bit more red. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. What do you guys think? Hello, Joes. Thank you for the hearts and all that, peeps. I really appreciate it. Lovely stuff. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me, or whatever it is where you're from. You're British, right? So it's, yeah, it was midday, closely. Yeah. I'm gonna go relax a little bit and think a little bit about my grandfather again. It's kind of a short stream today, but you know, it was emotional. We shared some stories. That was great. So yeah. Thank you, Björn. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. Remember, treat the world as you want the world to treat you, and all's gonna be a lot better, isn't it? So yeah.